It is. Yeah, it's going to be a staggered implementation because with all 3 regions. All right. So 7 p.m. Lisa, could you call the roll, please?
Yes. Mr. Davis.
Here.
Mr. Bowser.
Here.
Here. Mr. Hostetler.
Here. All right. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next is the adoption of the meeting agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the meeting agenda? So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All right, Lisa, if you can call the roll, please.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mr. Bowser.
Yes.
Mrs. Pat.
Yes.
And Mr. Hostetler.
Yes. Excuse me. Next, we have the approval of minutes for 2 meetings, the regular meeting on 6/19 and the special meeting on 6/26. Is everybody here in attendance for both of those? Okay. So is there a motion to approve both of those minutes on one motion? Second. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mr. Bowser.
Yes.
Mrs. Pat.
Yes.
And Mr. Hostetler.
Yes. All right, let's move into district reports.
First, I'd like to share that as you've seen going around, that most of our major projects for the summer are well underway. The only one that's still delayed is the track resurfacing, which will begin August 5th. We've worked around schedules with the band and football team. So as long as everything, weather cooperates, we should be able to get the asphalt redone. It'll have to sit for about 3 weeks and then they'll do the top surface, but we should be able to work around that based on that timing if they start August 5th or August 5th as anticipated. The playground at the elementary school, most of the area underneath the equipment, the artificial grass is in place. Walking on it, if I was going to fall off a piece of equipment, I would want to follow that surface. It's a nice, it's got some give to it. Should be much safer for our students. And then the last update on a facility project would be Mr. Shoemaker was working on both the boardwalk and the STEM lab over the last week or so. The boardwalk, with the help of Mr. Davis, the Cleveland Museum of Natural History, and another crew that was out today just to get after invasive species, have cleared the majority of it out. The majority of I think all that's left is the railing around the platform to be completed. In the STEM lab, Mr. Shoemaker has most of the carpets all gone, and I would say 75% of the glue that was holding the carpet has been ground off with the machine that we rented that he's been using just yesterday and today. So his next step will be to polish it up after he gets that last section of glue done, seal it, and it'll probably look better than his own classroom next door in the greenhouse. But that space is really going to come alive with getting the floor looking a little more presentable. The next item I have for you is our annual summer walkthrough. I talked to Ms. McGraw and she preferred August 14th. If that works for everyone, she could do the 16th, but her preference was the 14th. We'd start around 9 o'clock. That works.
It'd be elementary.
Yeah, we'll start the elementary, the easiest. So CES at 9 o'clock on the 14th. I'll let her know that. Next, we have a requirement from, I guess I'll let Lisa do more of the prep on this. she's run across more of the news alerts on fraud prevention training and conflict of interest training. So as part of that, everyone in the district, I believe, that gets a paycheck has to watch this 7-minute video.
Yeah.
So that's everyone. So we thought this would be a good time and a good meeting to knock it out of the way for all of us and get it taken care of. Technology cooperates. Anything to add? Or
No, I think you did a great job. Just we have, as George mentioned, the auditor of states is now requiring this fraud prevention and reporting training for all public employees, pretty much all school employees, including our substitutes and coaches, will have to complete this training. And the district is required to monitor the completion of that training. The deadline for everyone is November 29th of this year. And anyone hired in after November 29th has 10 days to complete the training. And then it must be done once every 4 years from that point forward. So we're going to do this tonight. It can be done in a group setting, but when you do participate in a group setting like this, you have to fill out the acknowledgement form that I put in front of you. And I'll collect those as records to indicate that it was completed. In addition, when we are audited, when we go under GAAP audits, financial audits, any type of audits, they will be picking out certain people that are on our payroll and asking to see their completion certificate or report form. So we must track it, we've been told multiple times. In addition to that, we have a code of ethics commitment statement that we've been asked to have some sort of written documentation kept on file in the district that shows that the Board of Education and district leaders have been informed of the conflict of interest policies that we have in the district. So tonight, I'm just providing you with a copy of those policies. It includes board member qualifications, board members code of ethics, board members code of ethics, the second one that is more specific, and then a specific conflict of interest policy. Then next month, we will come back and sign the commitment statement that we have received this information. All of you plus George and I need to make sure we have reviewed this information, that we understand the information, that we're abiding by these policies. So we'll just simply sign one document and keep it on file. Any questions about that? Okay, so George has been great about getting our 7-minute video up and prepared. So we'll go ahead and watch that.
Hi, I'm Auditor of State Keith Faber. This training is a result of a recently enacted law and is now required for nearly all Ohio public employees. This training will provide you with the tools necessary to detect and report fraud and maintain the strict ethical standards required by your position. Too often, my office is required to issue findings for recovery of taxpayer dollars or other sanctions against Ohio entities and employees that could have been avoided. This training will provide you with the knowledge to help you avoid these penalties associated with fiscal wrongdoing. More importantly, it will assist you in recognizing potential criminal activity by others and give you the information necessary to report to law enforcement or the auditor's special investigations unit. As public servants, we are expected to do our jobs with the utmost honesty as we serve Ohio's taxpayers. I thank you for your service to Ohioans, and if you have any questions after the training, please feel free to contact us at the auditor's office at either ohioauditor.gov or 1-866-FRAUD-OH. Thank you.
Welcome to the Ohio Auditor of State's training video on reporting fraud, waste, and abuse in government. As public employees, it's our responsibility to ensure that taxpayer dollars are used efficiently, effectively, and transparently. That requires a rigid adherence to the ethical behavior that taxpayers across Ohio have come to expect from us. The overwhelming majority of public employees come to work and do their jobs with the highest level of professionalism and pride. But on occasion, There are bad actors who take advantage of their access to public funds and resources. These types of behaviors are rare, but when they do occur, no matter how big or small, it severely erodes the public's trust in our work. Before we begin, here's a bit of background. The brief training you're about to receive is just one layer of a robust fraud reporting training that is required by law of all state and local government employees. Each public employee is required to receive this training during their initial onboarding and every 4 years thereafter. By learning the signs of fraud, knowing your responsibilities when fraudulent behavior in government occurs, and knowing how to report fraud to the appropriate authorities, you can play a key role in preventing loss of taxpayer resources. And as a public employee with an inside perspective to the day-to-day doings of government, you are the first line of defense in stamping out fraud, waste, and abuse. Let's begin by defining our 3 main categories: fraud, waste, and abuse, and then look at examples of each in the context of state and local government. First, fraud. Fraud in government refers to intentional deception or misrepresentation for personal gain or to deceive the public. This could include embezzlement, bribery, or falsifying documents, such as timesheets or financial statements. Let's look at an example. In 2019, an employee of Smith Village created fake invoices for services that were never provided. They arranged for a family member to receive the contract to provide those services. When the invoices were paid, the employee and their accomplice pocketed the money. This scheme lasted for 3 years before being discovered, resulting in losses totaling $30,000. Now let's look at waste. Waste in government occurs when resources are used carelessly or extravagantly, without adequate oversight, resulting in unnecessary costs to taxpayers. This might include overpaying for goods or services, unnecessary spending on projects, or even an intentionally inefficient process for a routine task. Let's look at an example. The Office of Finance is looking to purchase new technology for its team. The department decided to purchase desktop PCs for all administrative employees, all of whom had already been issued laptops. As a result of this oversight, many employees decided they don't need the new machines, and the PCs end up in storage, unused and wasting taxpayer funds. If the Office of Finance had issued the machines only to employees who needed them, they could have saved money. And lastly, abuse. Abuse excludes fraud and non-compliance and involves actions that a prudent person would determine to be unreasonable based on the circumstances, such as requesting reimbursement for an expensive meal or asking an assistant to pick up dry cleaning during working hours. Let's look at an example. The Director of Communications frequently has his clothes dry cleaned. It's common practice that he sends his admin out once a week to the dry cleaners 20 minutes from the office. Not only should the director be responsible for his own laundry, but it is also obviously inappropriate to have the admin run errands on state time. It's important to know that the examples provided are not comprehensive or exhaustive definitions of fraud, waste, or abuse. But if something doesn't look right, it's probably worth looking into. It's crucial for us to remain vigilant and report any suspicions of fraud, waste, or abuse. Suspect fraud? Speak up. We'll do the rest. Let's take a moment to discuss how you can report suspected bad behavior to the Ohio Auditor's Special Investigation Unit. Ohio law requires that any known instance of fraud, waste, or abuse be reported to the Ohio Auditor of State. There are several options you can use to make a report. You can report online through the auditor's website. Make a call to our Special Investigations Unit and speak to our intake specialists. This may require you to leave a message outside of business hours, but our staff will contact you. Send an email to our Special Investigations Unit that details the information you want to report. Make a report through mail, sending our Special Investigations Unit a narrative and any substantiating documentation you may have. All public organizations have a working relationship with staff at the Ohio Auditor's Office. If you suspect fraud, waste, or abuse, you can make a report to a member of our audit team. In this case, they could assist you in providing the necessary information to our Special Investigations Unit. Anyone who makes a report to the Auditor of State's Special Investigation Unit should expect one of our intake specialists or investigators to reach out to them. The more information that you can provide, the greater we're able to thoroughly investigate your claim. Remember, making the report is the first step in stamping out unethical and illegal behavior in government. It's important to note that public employees are protected against disciplinary action or retaliation from their employer for making a reasonable and good faith report of suspected fraud, theft in office, or misuse or misappropriation of public money. That means your good faith report of suspected fraud should not impact your role or status as a government employee. Thank you for taking the time to watch this important training video. By working together to detect and prevent fraud, waste, and abuse, we can ensure that taxpayer dollars are used responsibly, effectively, and transparently. Remember, it's up to all of us to uphold the integrity of state and local government in Ohio.
Are there any questions? If you could just fill out the form, fill now or leave the meeting.
Today is the
17th,
17th, and what department of,
school board.
what are we, the title?
Dan, welcome to Coventry School Board meeting tonight. You've been on the school board for like.
I've seen and heard people doing it.
Calling or something else.
Okay, this, I'm seeing it wrong. It's not this, correct?
No, it's just a single sheet. There's another one.
Oh, here.
There you go.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
See it for you.
Their questions, I said, it's typically because something has happened that you've learned from that.
We're not doing anything with right now.
We're just signing it all right here.
I'm sorry.
We're just all gonna sign one copy of that other one, is that correct?
Yes, at the next one.
Next meeting.
I just need this one.
You guys wanna pass them down before we get them all coupled? Sorry.
Thanks, so.
Yep. Is there anything else for district report?
Those are all the items.
Thank you. Next, we have special guests, which you guys are very special. I don't think we have any other additional speakers this evening. Citizen participation. And Board of Education comments, if you want to start.
I wanted to make a quick comment on the resurfacing the track and the progress in that. And I did walk back. It is nice. Yeah. The boardwalk is nice. And it will be, you know, no kids are gonna push everybody over, I'm sure. But the railings will be nice in there. Now, how many people they say will be able to be on that platform? How many kids? 33. So it's a weight limit of. Got to put a nice number on
Sorry, how many?
it.
I don't know if there is a weight limit on it. So there's gotta be.
I need to see anybody get a bit hurt or go over the edge.
And
And
we had 10 people, we all went in one corner. Were you there when we did that?
What's that?
When we all went in that corner, like it seems very stable.
Oh, yeah, it's very, I mean, there were,
I mean, there's gotta be some kind of limit, you're right, but.
had to be probably 15 adults on it.
do we have to get it checked by some weights and measures guy from the state? I'll just hope that nobody. Why am I thinking negative? I don't know. This stuff usually happens to me and I go, why didn't I think of that? Okay, anyway, and the other one, the walkthrough, just to cover, is the 14th at 9 a.m. Starting to go.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
I don't have much. Good to see fall sports picking up. I want to thank the Coach Dev and the rest of the folks that are working with basketball kids this evening and all week. Just good to see a lot of good things happening with the boardwalk and the track and taking care of our facilities. So definitely
Playground.
makes us feel good about our direction moving forward. That's all.
I'd just like to mention two things. First of all, I attended yesterday the funeral for Jim Hurston. And, you know, that's a name a lot of us who have lived here a long time are familiar with. He was part of Hurston Cleaners and he was 94 years old and passed away. And they were a great family for Coventry schools. And I just wanted to remark about that, their positive input. Also, Patty Frieder, who's a well-loved educator, had some heart surgery and is doing well. And just like to mention that also. She's a retired teacher. So that's all I have.
Prayers.
Yeah, let's move into the business portion. As always, everybody's welcome to stick around. If you don't, I know what you're gonna do.
Right.
All
Under
right.
superintendent recommendations, number one, personnel certified. Number one, salary status change. It's recommended the board approve a salary status change for the following employee effective with the beginning of the 24-25 school year. And that's for Mrs. Simmons, who has attained her PhD. And she's, we have another employee, staff member working on their PhD, but she's currently our only PhD within the district. Number two, supplemental contracts 24-25. It's recommended the board grant the following supplemental contract for the 24-25 school year. That's for Mr. Hutchinson as our LPDC chairperson. And as just a reminder, he oversees the process for which anyone with a license in the district gets the renewal and stays on track to renew and maintain their licensure. Number three, supplemental coaching contracts 24-25. It's recommended that the board grant and or reissue the following supplemental coaching contracts for the 24-25 school year per Exhibit S1. Non-staff contracts are contingent upon receipts of a clear record of the required background check. And one thing that stood out to me on that list is how grateful we are to the people within the community that step up and help us fill these positions, as there are 25 positions on this exhibit and only 12 of them are filled by internal staff members. So we really rely on a lot of outside people to help provide the experiences for our students. Number four is retirement resignation. It is recommended the board accept the resignation due to retirement of the following employees for the position indicated, and that's Ms. Bassett, who just wrapped up her career will be wrapping up her career in October of next year. As a third grade teacher. Number five is rescind employment. It's recommended the board rescind the following offer of employment. And that's for Mrs. Cunningham, who is going to be a new staff member to us as an intervention specialist at the middle school. And she's from over the East Liverpool way and found a position closer to home. Number six is St. Francis de Sales, K-8 Title I tutor. It's recommended the board employ the following individuals at K-8 Title I tutor at St. Francis de Sales School for the 24-25 school year. The position is for 4 days a week to be worked anytime Monday through Friday, depending on the school schedule, and up to 7.50 hours per day. The position should run from August 26th, 2024 through May 29th, 2025, excluding the week of Thanksgiving and the week before Christmas break. In addition to tutor services, there will be some administrative hours involved to include student identification, record keeping, and program setup. Exact days and hours will not exceed the available funding, which is currently $25,736.53. And that's for Mrs. Case. Number seven, employment on a one-year limited contract. It's recommended the board approve a one-year limited contract for the 24-25 school year for the following individual, contingent upon receipt of a clear record of the required background checks and drug screening. This is in accordance with board CEA agreements and on the appropriate salary scale. That's for Ms. Helms, who is taking over our CES art position. Mrs. Wolf is moving into an intervention specialist position. She's done a fantastic job in art. We threw her into that position 3 years ago and she embraced it and really blossomed. And I was a little disappointed to see she was moving, but I also understand her heart is in intervention and helping children with their reading skills. The second one is Ms. Gibson, who will be assigned to 3rd grade at the elementary school. Ms. Gibson is coming to us from a neighboring district where she had been reduced due to financial issues in that neighboring district. She was one of our top interview candidates, but we didn't think she was actually going to get reduced. So we pushed her off to the side in our initial round of hiring, and then later learned that everything kind of lined up with Mrs. Bassett's retirement, and we were able to circle back and eventually hire her as she was unfortunately reduced, but that was a win for us. And those are all of the items under personnel certified.
Is there a motion?
So, second.
Is there any discussion, questions?
Discussion, I'd like, what Cassandra Simmons, PhD?
Law.
Law.
I'm not sure which branch, but it's a law degree.
She's an Esquire
Yes.
now. Cool. Don't mess with her. Okay, thank you.
All right, hearing nothing else, Lisa, could you call the roll?
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Bowser,
Yes.
Mrs. Pat,
Yes.
and Mr. Hostetler.
Yes.
Number 2, personnel classified. Number 1, employment. It's recommended the board employ the following for the positions indicated, contingent upon receipt of a clear record of required background checks and drug screening. That's Ms. Ray, who will be becoming a classroom attendant at CES, and Mr. Espino, who will be a 4-hour bus driver. And we're always excited to be hiring bus drivers on this list. Next, we have our summer acclimation camp transportation. And it's recommended the board employ the following OPSI personnel to provide summer acclimation camp transportation services at their current rate of pay, the AM and PM shifts. And just as a reminder, the camp will run Monday through Friday, August 5th through August 16th. And those are all of the items under personnel classified.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions, comments? All right, Lisa, could you call the roll?
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mr. Bowser,
Yes.
Pat,
Yes.
and Mr. Hostetler.
Yes.
Can I ask, so the bus driver situation, like, are we still like short bus drivers right
We're
now?
still technically too short. But Joe, our mechanic, basically drives every day.
Yeah.
But we are still 2 people.
Springfield, I think that's one of the school buses facing, Canton Road, and it's got a big sign on the side of it, we need bus drivers. On the side of the school.
It's
It's
a statewide problem. There just aren't enough of those individuals out there. There just really aren't.
Thanks.
Oh, I'm sorry. Number 3, other business. Number 1, rescind the contract Educational Service Centers of Northeast Ohio. It's recommended that the board rescind the contract with the Educational Service Center of Northeast Ohio for vision therapy approved at the May 15th, 2024 Board of Education meeting. Number 2 then is the corresponding resolution. Contract Educational Service Center of Northeast Ohio. It is recommended the board approve the contract with the Educational Service Center of Northeast Ohio for vision therapy services for the 24-25 school year for students with whose IEP has these services necessary. The contract is based on an estimated hourly rate of $120 per hour, and we are only billed for the hours used. As noted, we are estimating the yearly cost to be around $8,000 based on previous year's services. And the reason we're doing that is there was a change in the rate. That's why we're rescinding and then reapproving. Number 3 is rescind the proposal with Gardner. It's recommended the board rescind the proposal with Gardner approved at the June 19th, 2024 Board of Education meeting. Purpose behind rescinding this is Lisa or Ms. Blau and I, after doing some more research on this, decided that it would be better to go through the RFP process for this than the consortium pricing process. Number 4, proposal Barbicas Construction. It's recommended the board approve the proposal from Barbicas Paving Barbikas Paving LLC to demo and remove the existing concrete blocks at the track at an amount not to exceed $27,500. As you know, we've been working for a number, I would say about a year, trying to find a solution to those large concrete pillars. So we're going to experiment. Mr. Barbikas's company is going to see how long it takes to demolish one of the piers. And if that's in a reasonable amount of time and we feel that it's worth the expense, then we'll continue. If it takes 10 hours to crumble one of those, then we'll stop after the one and reassess and come up with another solution or continue looking for another solution. In talking to Mr. Olson, he said one of the biggest problems with these piers are that they have 3 cinch points and it takes only one crane can be used to lift them. So it has to be an enormous crane. And that's where the true cost is, that you can't get 2 smaller crane cranes to pick them up and move them because of the way in which they were designed. So if this doesn't work, we'll keep searching for another solution.
That's just so crazy.
Number 5 is a proposal, again with Barbikas Construction. It's recommended the board approve the proposal from Barbikas Paving LLC to make emergency repairs to the playground asphalt at Coventry Elementary School at a cost of $10,550. Mr. Barbikas's quote was the lowest of the 3 and substantially lower than the other 2 quotes that we received. And as a reminder, this is due to the sinkhole type opening that is developed on our elementary playground. Number 6 is a deletion of inventory. Operations Department. It is recommended the board approve the following deletion of inventory from the Operations Department. And these would be the old high jump pits. They're currently located in the athletic shed. And if you'd seen them, you realize that they need to go. And we have new ones ordered as part of our track renovation project. And those are all of the items under other business.
Okay, is there a motion? I'll second. Questions or discussion on these?
Yeah, just about those concrete like things with like an albatross like around their neck or whatever, that's crazy. But so I don't understand like the amount did not to exceed 27,000, but this, and thanks for sending this earlier, by the way, like for, to review, but why is this one like 9,000, and then this is not to exceed 27,000? Where are you like?
When I originally sent that to you, I misunderstood. I thought that he had baked in hours into it, and that was just the base cost to begin. So it only has 1 hour of labor. And so then we had to go back to him and get the figure for what a week's worth of labor would cost.
Okay, so this is still.
That's why it
not like
increased.
for the week, this is still just like the.
That's just the base cost. So the total cost, which includes those items, is the 27,500. Because the 40 hours of labor is the rest of the cost for his crew.
All right, well, hopefully that works out well.
Fingers crossed.
Hopefully they can just smash those up.
I said we should use them to fill the sinkhole at the elementary school.
If we can get them demolished enough to stick the remnants of the. The concern is the amount of rebar and the unknown as to how much it is and what that might take to, how slow that may go.
All right, any other questions? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Bowser,
Yes.
Mrs. Cap,
Yes,
and Mr. Hussack.
Yes. Next, we have treasurer's recommendations. Lisa?
2 items this evening. The first item is it is recommended the board approve and place on file the May 24 financial statements and reconciliations per Exhibit T1. And item 2 is recommended the board approve the POs over 5,000 per Exhibit T2. There's always less POs over 5,000. And that includes financial.
Motion?
So moved.
Second. Questions or comments? Lisa, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Bowser.
Yes.
Mrs. Cap,
yes,
and Mr. Hussack.
Yes.
2 items this evening. The first item is it is recommended the board approve and place on file the May 24 financial statements and reconciliations per Exhibit T1. And item 2 is recommended the board approve the POs over 5,000 per Exhibit T2.
Yes. All right, we have two Board of Education recommendations this evening. Number one is a resolution, athletic league affiliation. It is recommended that the board approve the resolution to transition from the Metro Athletic Conference to the Principals Athletic Conference per Exhibit B1. Number two, resolution to proceed, levy renewal. It is recommended that the board approve the resolution to proceed with the submission to the electors the question of the renewal of an existing emergency levy pursuant to section 5705.194 through 5705.197 of the Ohio Revised Code per Exhibit B2. Their motion?
So moved.
All right. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, first I want to say thanks for keep pursuing the Act 7 thing. Hopefully that will work out. It's kind of disappointing that at least it looks like it's probably going to be a couple of years still. So if there's a way to like not have that big delay at some point, if they're like, hey, we just, you know, the Metro League just wants to get us out of there at this point, then just like move on.
That would be our hope. I've informed the Metro League that we'd be talking about this tonight. And so once, you know, we go through it this evening, we'll be able to circle back. And once I'm actually able to meet with them and figure out, you know, their path forward, that'll help answer some of those questions. The unfortunate part is that Act 7 football signs 3-year contracts. So that may hold us up in football. But I think the feeling currently amongst our administrative staff is that we would like to get as many sports there as soon as possible. You know, this has been about a 2.5-year process, you know, to get a lot of work that's gone into this. You know, one thing I would like to say is, you know, our experience in the MAC has been stellar. We've had a great experience in the MAC. But I think going back to the Pac-7, Coventry was originally when we were doing our work for our presentation to the Pac-7 was joined the Pac-7 in 1989. The PAC was founded in 1987. So Coventry, in my opinion, we're just fixing something that shouldn't have happened in the past. You know, the PAC was a perfect place, but due to different things that happened over the years, we all know those stories. You know, it just didn't work out. So I think this corrects those mistakes that were made in the past and gets us into a league where we can have true rivalries. As someone who grew up in, you know, one of the biggest rivalries in the state, some of my best memories of high school were our rivalry days and our rivalry weeks. And I really want to see our kids experience that. And we're beginning that hopefully positively this year in football with, you know, our opening game will be against Manchester and, you know, bring back to life those rivalries that are fun for families, kids, communities, you know, us as the district. And I'm hoping to get that whole Route 93 rivalry going back with the Pac-7. So I'm super excited. It took us a long time to get here. It's going to take a long time to transition, but it'll be a great move for our district and our kids.
Yeah, that's cool. It can take a long time, but now it's a good outcome though. Great. And then the resolution, so this is the second for the levy. This is the second one, and then then that's kind of it, right, for us?
Yes.
Then it's kind
Yes,
of
this will go
official.
to the Board of Elections, and they will certify that they are going to place it on the ballot.
Yeah, and that's it. Then we just start like before this fall, if I kind of get it going. Thanks.
Yeah. Other questions or comments? Lisa, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Bowser?
Yes.
Mrs. Pat?
Yes.
And Mr. Hostetler?
Yes. I believe there's a need for executive session this evening, so. There's no further business. Is there a motion? Oh. I think somebody already said motion to adjourn. Are you getting out prop?
Rob,
Oh, here we go.
we all know as we went through school and life, we always have times of celebration and times of depression. And as we go through these things, we tend to mark them down. Like, I remember when my dad died, I was with him, et cetera. And then when I was 5 years old, I was with him on the farm and he was killed in an accident there. And I was the only one at home in those days, because everyone else was at school and my mom was a teacher. And so I was there and I remember these things. And so the dates and things stick in your mind. We also remember good things. I still remember when each of my children were born, being there with them, et cetera. Those are moments. Notice I didn't say getting married. Anyway, so you go through those types of things and you always remember those types of things. Well, here at Coventry Local Schools, we've been going through the same things. We've been talking about fiscal emergencies and how we've done and the bad times and when they started, what happened and how it all occurred. And then we also just got done going through this fantastic revival, I'm gonna call it revival, of Coventry Local Schools. Things are going well, the test scores are up, we've done so much stuff, so I have to go through and do something for that. It's a competitive thing. I always was a competitor when I was going through school. I was an 8th grader and I won the Ohio history exam for Northeast Ohio as an 8th grader. Because in those days, you had to take Ohio history. And so I got Celeron in, I've got the treaties, I had all those type of things, how many counties, what were the county seats, all that kind of stuff. And I could do all that type of stuff, and I was an 8th grader. So I actually got a little medal, well, actually it's not little, a nice size medal, and I still have that today. It's over 50 years old. When I went through high school, sports were the thing. So I ended up being on a team that won a championship. Of course, there was a trophy. The coach gets the trophy, and I got to touch it for about 5 seconds. But that trophy is still sitting in the trophy case at Rustdown High School, and it's over 50 years old. But my name's on it, et cetera. So we go through these things through our lives. And here we are at Coventry, and I have to do something about that. And so I do, because it's the right thing to do. So the first one I got, and of course this was all spurred by someone that had all these things done. The first one I have is a plaque. The highest achievement. This is just going to be presented to the school district, and of course this, as the other ones, these hopefully will be in someday when we have an administration building. And you always can think of, the little White House next door or something, but you have some place to put these things, because they're really not an individual type of award. Everyone had something to do with it. I was going to give this to the president of the Board of Education, being how much Laura does and what she's doing and all those type of things. So this would be presented now just to have it, and I'm going to start it down here. No, we'll start with the people that stuck around for a while. We'll start it back here, and they can look at it and read them and see what's going on. The second one I got was, of course, for Coventry schools, and this is the one on the savings total. And of course, who would be such a person that would be looking at all the little nooks and crannies where we can save things, come up with things? And Lisa has done such a wonderful job doing these things. And this plaque would be in her thoughts, but this was actually going to be presented to the schools. And I'm going to start that one down here. Lisa. And what these are, and of course, then we go on to the top dog in the box. And this is from Moody's. I ended up getting a trophy with Moody's on it. Had to look all over to try to get an insignia for Moody's, and I looked all through the place, looked on the internet, all those places, and the only one I could find was an older one, which was a block M with an apostrophe after it, because it's a Moody's, the plural, and actually it's just a Moody's Financial, it's an ownership, so it's just a thing. But the new one they have is this one, just came up with it, and this one says Moody's upgrades Coventry LSD rating and outstanding general obligation, gold bonds up to A3. And it says down here at the bottom, we have to put this in because it's a step from what we were to what we are today. This reflects the district's improved financial position following emergence from the state designated fiscal emergency, May 1st, 2024. And so this one, and I know I overheard Lisa the other day. I actually listened to her when she gets up and speaks. And this one, she was mentioning how George was in on this. So this is actually, we'll start at this end with George and go back the other end. But it just was the right thing to do. And I think that our school district and the people in this school district need to see what we've done as a group. This is not a particular winner of an award, just like a trophy was for the school, or a trophy was when I was on the football team at Kent State, won the Mid-American Conference. I didn't even think I touched the trophy. That was all the head coach and going to the athletic directors, et cetera, and the president of the university. But these are plaques that then will go hopefully in an administrative building at some time, or in some place where people of the community can see these things and what we as a group, as a whole, as Coventry, has actually earned. And this is from other groups. And I realized that the people, so to speak, were supposed to come tonight and they were on to next month. But I thought I'd just do that as a little something from a citizen of the community to the school. Thank you.
That's very nice, Dan. Thank you. It's great to, we've achieved a lot, but it's great to see it memorialized on a plaque.
Yeah.
That's cool. Appreciate that.
All this stuff.
So is A3, that's not the highest rating though, is it?
No, it's the highest level, but within the rating, within that level, there's a few levels.
Yeah, but it is an A. Well, we were a C at one time.
That's great.
We were, I thought worse things.
We might win.
I know, I just noticed today, when I got A's, I put them up on the wall, and all from the refrigerator. It didn't happen often, but I got one.
Really nice, thank you.
So that's from the citizen of the community to the school. That's, oh, thank you. So, okay, now there's. I'm over.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second. All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Okay, you gotta ask.